Well, I'm not done talking. But as I was saying, the mainstream media is deceiving the public, okay? And either they're confused or they're deceptive, okay? That's it. But it's probably a lot of I mean, we're all to some degree confused. But what these people report is not reality, okay? And so often that's the only source for people is mainstream media. So what they report is what they figure is true. They say, well, these are the professionals, these are the journalists, the reporters. They don't have any motivation for lying. They're just reporting the news. But it's not true. Okay, let's take the smoking. They're constantly running ads. You know who's paying for those anti-smoking ads? As a smoker, I'm paying for them. Okay? And all the other smokers out there, even though my stepmother's mother is 97 years old, count them, 97 years old, and she smoked into her 80s, okay? So don't tell me. I know a hell of a lot of people that never smoked a cigarette in their lives that are dead decades before that. So don't tell me that this is some kind of an absolute truth, that if you're a smoker, you're going to cost the society all this money in healthcare costs. The fact of the matter is that obesity, okay, is a health problem, and it's costing phenomenally billions more than the smoking cigarettes is. I go into a supermarket and it seems like every single person there is overweight, okay? They're out of shape. They're not fit. They're not healthy. They're obese, okay? That's the way it is. Okay, that's what's costing society a lot more. That's what's requiring a lot more people to get diseases and need doctors. Not smoking, but yet what does the mainstream media harp on? That's what they harp on. You know, I guess Hillary Clinton is running an anti-Trump ad, and she's saying, well, you know, here's Trump saying that, you know, he was hoping that things would collapse in 2006 or 2008 when, you know, back then when we had that. I was hoping it would collapse. That would have been capitalism at work. That's called, in capitalism terms, that's called a market correction. That's what's supposed to happen. Once again, you probably could have bought a house with a minimum wage job. You wouldn't need a cost of living adjustment anymore, which is justified. Anybody out there that wants to give me this bull about how minimum wage workers, this anticipated, you know, idea that we're going to pay them $15 an hour across the country and they're going to have all this power and clout now and it's going to drive employers out of business and all their jobs are going to go to machines. Let the chips fall where they will. The point is that a COLA is justified in light of the fact that your cost of living is going up. When isn't it? Please, I'm just trying to be sensible and logical. I'm not trying to be a bleeding heart liberal here. I'm just trying to state the obvious. And it's mathematically, it's just like giving somebody a pay decrease if they don't get a commensurate cost of living adjustment. How can you say it's okay for this guy to make this fixed amount of money or give him dribbles and drabs and keep his minimum wage always lower than the cost of living? So he's always running in the sand, but the sand just keeps getting deeper. How is that okay? It reflects in every other field out there. Everybody's saying, well, I know you used to get $20 an hour for this job, but you know, minimum wage has fallen so much relative to the cost of living. I can get away with paying you X amount. This is what's going on out there, folks. Understand that it's affecting everybody. And if you claim to be against the New World Order and you claim to be against tyranny and oppression and all this, then understand what is causing it. Okay, it's called financial tyranny, financial oppression. People deserve to be treated fairly. Don't tell me that, well, they should just go get a different education, a different trade, a different... That's their business, what they do. And if their heart was set on being a baseball player and they can't be a baseball player because, well, there's only a handful of guys that are so lucky to get those jobs, then tough. If all they wanted to say, that, then all I aspire to is flip hamburgers all day. That's their prerogative. And if a machine takes that job, so be it. Tough. It's not your problem. Stay focused on what you do. And understand if the problems go away, will your job disappear? For example, even if you're an InfoWars reporter whose job is very important currently, But if the problems get solved and there's no more problems to report on out there, you're all going to be out of work. Understand the immensity of this scam, how we're all being duped. Otherwise, you're not going to understand anything. We need to come out of Babylon. We need to come out of confusion and ignorance and darkness and understand the grand picture. We've got to do what Jesus said and be as shrewd as serpents, but as innocent as doves. We've got to get a few steps ahead of these people in preparation of the return of Jesus, in preparation of the end of the age and the beginning of the new age. Understand how it's going to be. Use your God-given precious imagination to imagine a world that's perfect down to the smallest detail. Don't wait for him or her to come into your picture. You do it on your own. You just imagine a society that's working completely like clockwork, okay? The way you would have it, perfectly. Don't omit any details. It's your idea of heaven and a perfect society, a perfect civilization. That's it. You figure it out. Remember, everybody around you is just like you. Okay, not as far as being an individual, all individuals, but they are like-minded. Okay, you all have a meeting of the minds in that perfect world that you've established. How will it operate? Okay, what jobs are deemed important out there? Which ones aren't? I mean, is being a baseball player, a basketball player, are these jobs important to welfare of society? No. You could say the guy building houses, his job's absolutely critical, essential to the welfare of society. Or growing our food, yes, absolutely. Transporting the food, storing your food, all that kind of stuff, yes. Those are critical jobs. Giving you food. Those are the ones that should pay the most. If we had a logical society, it'd be those that are doing the most important jobs out there that we rewarded in a disparate manner, okay? You know what? I mean, the whole thing is nonsense. Our society is illogical. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsensical. And you've been trained to believe somehow it makes sense. Somehow all this whole thing, you know, what I was taught in grade school and high school and college, it's got to make sense. All my teachers seemed so smart. And all the students, they were so smart, and I acted so smart, and I got good grades. I know I'm smart. Don't tell me. No, you've been trained to believe the way they want you to believe in division, to believe it's hopeless, to believe we can never solve our problems and get along with each other. We're always going to need war. We're always going to need poverty. We're always going to have crime. We're always going to have debt. We're always going to have these problems. All these women getting abortions because they can't afford their children. Okay, we're always going to have prostitution. It's the oldest trade in the book. Yeah, it's the invention of money. Okay, a woman didn't have to. It's her earth too. We're all born unspeakably wealthy. That should be the reality we embrace. That should be our paradigm. It's a divine one, a God-given reality. That's what we need to embrace. That's what we need to spend time cultivating and imagining in our hearts and in our minds and say, God, bring it on, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to say, you know what? If I'm deceived, if I'm wrong in any way, then you show me, you reveal it to me, and you help me to squash it. Okay, and say, you know what? I don't want that thing anymore. If God doesn't want it, I don't want it. And what does he say about the things that are highly valued among men? So isn't money one of those things that's highly valued among men? Yes, it is. But it's despicable. It's written that it's detestable in the sight of God, the things that are highly valued among men. Our ways are not his ways. We've got to get that fundamental fact that the way that he sees things, the way that he does business is entirely different from the way we do, the way we think about stuff, the way we see stuff, because we've been trained to think wrongly. These people are like, if anybody's seen the show A Clockwork Orange, I mean, these are the kind of the punk kids, but on a grand scale. These grand deceivers are just like that mentality, you know, murderous, thuggish. Okay, that's who they are, just punkish. Just spoiled, rotten piss ants. That's what they are. Trampling over humanity, okay? Running roughshod over us. They've been doing this for thousands of years. As long as money has been the rule of the day, however long money has been the power, okay, and the source of power for the rulers that be. They can hire killers out there. Understand, if you can hire killers, that'll get rid of all your nemesis out there that are standing in your way, all the obstacles. They just gun them down and say, you know what, no more smooth sailing for you, oppressors and liars and deceivers, thugs and criminals. Okay, you money lovers, you money masters, you illegitimate overlords. It's easy sailing. Just deceive away. Just do what you do. Enjoy your power. You got it. Doesn't matter how you got it. That's between you and the devil, right? Right? You don't care. You don't believe in some God, some benevolent God. You believe God's an a-hole. Otherwise, he wouldn't let all these bad things happen. That he's just a paper tiger, right? Well, you better think again, because the day is coming, the great day of the Lord, the great and terrible day of the Lord. This is the day of reckoning. This is the day of comeuppance for these evildoers, and that day is quickly approaching. So we all need to ready our hearts and our minds for the way it is going to be eventually. And it's not going to resemble anything like this. We're going to be free. The captives will be set free. Reality will be instilled and installed upon the earth. And it will be his way, not our way. Okay? And if you're deceived, you better pray to God. If you can't get over it, you just can't figure this out, you better pray that he helps you. Otherwise, you're going to the same place those evildoers are going. Those hypocrites. Okay? That's where you're going. You won't be found fit. You won't be found deserving. You won't be found worthy to inherit this special world. Okay? And the earth is going to be cleansed. This planet is going to have God's will installed on it, okay? And how is it going to be at that time? What role are economics going to play in a world like that? They're not. So get used to money simply being here temporarily as a means to an end. I'm begging everybody out there, anybody, one person that hears my voice and can pass this on and understand and grasp it. I'm not making stuff up. This isn't my own personal philosophy. This is coming from the Bible. This is the words of Jesus Christ that taught these things. Okay? It's a false competing God, and we've got to trample it under our hooves. We must do away with it. And the way to do it, like I said, the nuts and bolts way is through sound currency. But they're not going to tolerate it, folks. They're not going to allow it, because all these people would have no advantage anymore. And that's what the money gives them. It gives them great advantage. When you've got the power of the printing press, imagine that. Imagine that. They can literally buy up all the goods and services in perpetuity, forever. That's it. That's the way it is. Is that okay? Is that justifiable? Is that right? Okay? Is that moral? Is that ethical? No, it isn't in any way, shape, or form. And this is what we have to target. We have to demand justice from these people. And if we don't gain control over the money printing operation, we the people, not some of the people, all the people get to say in our financial destiny, where we're going, then we're just going to keep descending. Your dollar expected to keep on descending in worth as your cost of living rises. Remember, it's a scale. Cost of living goes up, the worth of your currency goes down. 98 years since the inception of the Federal Reserve. Well, no, it's dropped 98% since the inception of the Federal Reserve in 1913. Okay, in my life, I've seen it drop dramatically. Okay, because $1.50 an hour was minimum wage approximately 50 years ago. But understand this, with that minimum wage, you could be a homeowner. You could support your whole family. Your wife could stay at home and be a homemaker, that if she wanted to. Otherwise, she could go and work too. Okay, and you could live an upper middle class life. Okay, if two people working in the family, definitely you could buy the nicest house in the neighborhood, the whole bit. Okay, but you understand here, folks, that the buying power of minimum wage has fallen dramatically. So this whole idea of $15 an hour, that's not even commensurate with $1.50 an hour back in the mid 60s. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying here? So people that think that, I'm some wild-eyed, bleeding heart liberal, I'm not. I'm pragmatic. I'm practical. I have common sense. I'm trying to be logical here. I'm saying, look, if it makes fiscal prudence to just solve the damn problem, okay, and then we don't have to pay all these welfare agencies in perpetuity, okay, how much is that costing out of your pocket, your tax dollars? Okay, you understand how this works? It's madness. It's madness, and we're entrenched in it. We're enveloped in it. So few people seem to understand the problem. That's why I feel like it's hopeless until the return of Jesus, and this may explain why he said, look, It's going to be like a thief in the night. It's going to surprise you. It's going to catch you off guard because so many people just don't believe it. They don't believe it, the literal interpretation of the Bible. They say, well, it's got to be a metaphor and it's sometime in the distant future, and you don't know, and that's true. I don't know when it is. I'm fighting the good fight. I'm speaking out to the bitter end. I'm trying to do God's work. He says, look, you can't be satisfied, Chris. You can't sit there and just do this or that and dissipate time without sticking